Hey, good morning, friends. Pastor Jason here with our Tuesday check-in. I'm going to take some time today, kind of take us back to the scripture that we looked at a bit on Sunday, talk a bit about the story of Rizpah and her sons. Again, not going to focus so much on her today, but I want to talk a bit more about King David here in this episode, here in the story that we looked at this week. And it's rather interesting as you dig through the commentaries, you dig through some research on this. There's not really a good time frame for when this event happen during the reign of King David. A lot of scholars put it more towards the beginning. Have it kind of towards the beginning of his reign. So maybe it's not quite in chronological order here through the book of Samuel, but I think it leads to an interesting kind of idea here. If this is early in David's reign, yes, I mean, he's God's anointed. He's a man after God's own heart, a man who seeks God in prayer, and God responds to him and talks with him. But here he's responsible for a rather heinous, brutal act here, the handing over of these 7 men to be killed. And I think it leads to one, how much is this some political pressure that's being applied to David here? He hasn't been the king all that long. People are expecting King David the slayer of tens of thousands, the man who felled Goliath, who has united a kingdom, and now there's this famine. Is there some pressure applied to David here that maybe kind of pushes him to give in really fast to the request of the Gibeonites to give over these 7 men to be killed? Again, some of the commentary, some of the scholars who look at this text, there's not really a good time to place it, but there's some argument that it's early on in his reign, and maybe just at this point in time, he feels so pressured just to try to end the famine, to get some political momentum going forward for himself, that he gives in to something that maybe he doesn't necessarily want to do. And I think that's a good reminder. I think there's a really good possibility that is some of the motive going on behind David's role in this and some of his actions. And I think it's a good reminder for us that, those who are in positions of authority over us, we would love to think that they're just governed by their responsibilities to take care of us, to take care of those whom they serve, but there's also so much pressure from those around them. There's pressure from those who are up above them, from the higher ranks of the offices and of governance. And unfortunately, it's really hard to try to determine the motives for someone's actions. We would like to think that those responsible for us are acting solely in our best interest, but far too often there's so many factors, there's so many influences, there's so much at play, and I think there's just a little wrinkle here in the story of David and Rizpah that speaks to that as well, and it's a good reminder for us to keep in mind. So, spend some time maybe thinking about that today. This is 2 Samuel chapter 21, verses 1 through 14 is that section of scripture that we're looking at. So thanks for your time this morning, friends. Have a great day. Have a great week. Be safe. Be well. Remember how much that you are loved. Thanks, guys.